Our whole audience will be there waiting for
Which is us. Again, life theme. It's fine.
I did reach 1,000 though.
I know. Congrats. I saw that's a milestone.
Yeah.
That's a
I got my
milestone.
community page, so that's cool. All
And
right, I think we might be live. Hello.
Yay.
I am
And-
so excited. This Friday live stream, I have Abbey, aka New Age Coach, and Abbey and I did an interview last year, and we just have a lot of fun together. So I am super excited to talk to her about how this year has gone for her in the pandemic and the awakening and her ascension journey. We've been having a lot of laughs about, the
about not laughing.
Yeah. Of it all. Like there's lots of themes we're gonna touch base on in this live around ascension and awakening and ascension symptoms. So if you are going through that, please stay tuned, laugh with us, share with us, get active in the comments, and we love that you are here or watching the video. So Abbey, I just was looking at your YouTube channel and I have a few questions because
Absolutely.
like you have done a few things that like you're checking off. One, you checked off surfing on your bucket list. You're an author now, and you are a Reiki master.
Yes.
Right. Those are 3 huge things all this year.
Thank you. I mean, I wouldn't call surfing because I got up like for 2 seconds. So like flopping around is more accurate. And it was more of a process getting in the wetsuit than it was surfing.
Oh yeah, I know.
Everything perspective, subjective. But yes, that was my bucket list item. So I definitely did that. It was so much fun. Have you ever been surfing?
I have a few times, but it was fun. Had the experience, got up, fell off, and I was like, yay!
And that's the awakening journey in a nutshell. Surfing. You get up, you fall off, and there you go. Such a metaphor.
That is such a good metaphor because you do get up and you're just like, woo! And then all of a sudden you're like
face planting. Yeah. And drowning. And like, help me. I'm going too far deep. It's too deep. It's too deep. I need some air. Yeah.
That is totally the awakening and ascension journey. That is so true. So yeah. So you also became a Reiki master, and I want to say too, because I'm a Holy Fire Reiki master, and I went through a whole year to get to my master level, and it does a lot. So if you're in that year, you're in it, sister.
Oh, I am in it. There's no coincidences. It's definitely shown me that I'm in the process and things are opening and expanding and hands tingling and new sensations, which are all part of the ascension symptoms and life reflecting back, all of the things that I'm learning. So it's always a mirror. Even that Reiki journey, I did 3 levels to get through my master. I did it over about a year as well, in increments. And, each level has a certain lesson. So for example, one about, personal relationships, for example. And as I was going through that level, I definitely took notice of my life and how all of my relationships in my life were being affected. So I don't find that coincidental, right? When you're on a spiritual journey, you start to realize that everything is a mirror and nothing's coincidental, and that there are so many lessons to learn simultaneously. So while I was learning Reiki practically, I was also learning the principles being reflected back in my actual life, where relationships needed mending, where I had to let go of some relationships, where we needed to heal some certain relationships. So all of this was happening simultaneously, and it's not one and done. This is just the beginning, even though I have, this new certification and, this pretty 3D, buttoned up view of it. Like it's really just the start. It's my life, right? Reiki is like actually my life and who I am.
Yeah, when you get your master's, it's like, okay, now the journey begins.
Yeah, right.
That's what they said. They were like, okay, now it really begins. Go for it.
Exactly. Yes. Go grasshopper, young grasshopper. I'm like, wait, I'm not done.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a wild ride. And yeah, I think that's also a theme of like 2021 on an awakening journey for me, at least, is the idea of like ups and downs. And we talked about that with surfing, but I feel like I've experienced some of my highest highs, like getting certified, writing and publishing a children's book, getting some major accomplishments, all these extreme highs. But then on the flip side, in duality, 2021 has shown me the lowest of lows, like some lows that I haven't had in an extremely long time. And it's this process, I think, for me in 2021 and trying to recalibrate and get to that center, because I haven't really found my middle ground quite yet. I feel like I'm either on like one end of the spectrum, and I'm really trying to recalibrate and find, my center. And I share that because before we started talking, I think it's important for anyone watching to understand that it's, not all unicorns and rainbows and butterflies when you go on this journey. And while you're experiencing things individually, it's important to talk about the lows just as much as the highs, because sometimes it's a collective energy too. We shared before we started that I'm experiencing this level of exhaustion, and I've talked to different practitioners and people who are on their own awakening journey, and find it interesting that on certain days, for example, I'm getting the same message from certain people I'm talking about. And I'm like, hey, this is why it's important to share, because sometimes when you can't get out of bed and you're kicking yourself, being, I'm lazy, I'm unproductive, the spiritual journey is kicking my butt, but it's like, it's also bigger than that too. So like, give yourself a little break and some compassion, because it's a lot of energetics and things beyond what you can see or realize. Human resonance, like the earth is doing things it's never done in a really long time right now. So it's important to share stories and realize like it's big. It's big. Yeah. It's you, and it's also bigger than you.
Yeah, I love how you just describe all this. You have such a way with words and putting things. It's awesome. I wanted to say too, like one of the topics that we were talking about is the Ascension ADD. And you were laughing because I was just like,
what? Shiny? What? Oh, you were talking? Just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
See, ADD. Yeah.
I have two kids that, go through this, and I never understood, because I was always like really focused, straight A student, could just jam things out. And now I'm like, what? Yeah, I call it Ascension ADD, because it's like, today I had to really get my list, and like going to follow this. And it's like, almost like, oh, and then like, but what I want to say about that is just like, I'm trying to work with it, but I'm also trying to flow with it, because there's some brilliance there. There's the up and the down. There's some brilliance to really learning how to go with the flow of the energy, because you can have your list, but then the energy of the day is a little different. So do you have experienced that too?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Like, I am so confused. I think the more confused you get, I think it means the more you're on a spiritual journey. That's what I've come to realize in 2021. Like, if you're confused, it means you're doing it right, at least for me. Yes. And I say that because where I'm at is like trying to figure out, and I think it all is everything, but I'm trying to figure out like, what is actual life versus what's my spiritual journey? Where do they intersect? What is the difference if there is one? And, we were joking, like, I'm on TikTok, you're on TikTok, and some of the videos I've been seeing are like, adult ADHD or, high functioning anxiety. And I'm like, check. Every time they're like these symptoms, I'm like, oh my God, that's me to a T. So are these like actual, health issues? Are they actually like personality issues? Were they always there and I just never noticed it? But now that I'm hyper aware because I'm on the spiritual journey, I'm just noticing, like, I don't know where those intersections are. But yes, like, I completely will walk into a room, start doing laundry, then the laundry turns into, oh my God, I forgot to do the dish. Then the dish turns into, well, now I have to reorganize my cabinets. Now my reorganizing of my cabinets means I have to go write a blog. And that means, like, that's my day. And then I've accomplished nothing when I'm trying to be in that mode. But when I stop and catch myself in those moments and bring myself back to presence and awareness, I'm like, okay, like that's what it's all about. The spiritual journey is like presence and awareness. And that's why I said, I don't know if it's my journey or just life, but I think there's something to say, like, it was probably always my life and it's always been that way. But now I just have a new level that I can catch myself in those moments and say, I don't have to label them as ADHD. I don't have to label them as anything. It can just be what it is. That's like one lesson I've learned. And that's the flowing part that we talk about. It's like, okay, I just caught it. I don't know what it is. I don't need to label it, but like, I'm hyper aware right now. I'm catching myself. It's now, what's my choice to do? What's my next step? What's my next action once I'm like catching myself in these moments? What can I learn from this? What action can I take to change if I want to change what I'm doing? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's just,
it's so funny, and I'm going to define it, but but it's like, you know, as we awaken and ascend, like we let go of forms and structures.
Mhm.
So it's like when we can let go of the definition of something, there's more capacity to it. So like there's some capacity into like, "Ooh, where am I going today?" Like, and it's a growing awareness that's happening, and it's beautiful, and that's the upside of it. And the downside is learning how to flow and actually get just a thing done that, you know, in this 3D world, sometimes one thing has to get done,
One
like
thing.
that for a bill. But
Yeah.
you know, but it's like it's we start to let go of that form and structure, and then we have to learn how to
Yeah.
just navigate in
Right.
the flow and still get some concrete things done. It's
And for me, even like an example of that with learning how to be like more of my truest authentic self in that process, like I realized so much of my life, especially in the corporate world, right? It was always on a schedule and routine. And now that I have flexibility in my schedule, I'm learning like that's not because that's when I'm most productive or I'm most valuable or I'm being myself. No, actually, I found that I'm a person. I'll be up at 3 a.m. and that's where my most creative,
Mhm.
amazing, inspiring work happens. And I want to sleep till 12, and some might think that's lazy, but to me, that's when my body needs rest, right? So it's reworking some of these structures and systems. And at first, when I'm going room to room because it's new to me and I don't know what to do with myself, that's part of that recalibration process that might feel like you're lost, but in actuality, it's you stepping into actually the truest version of what works for you at your core of who you are, where your productivity is, where your creativity is, where your flow is. It's not just
Yeah,
9 to 5 for every single person, especially on a
right.
spiritual awakening journey where time is not a real thing. And that's, like you get to play with time. You don't
Yeah,
have to be up at 9 because you can be up at 3 a.m. Who cares? That's
right.
it. Doesn't,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you make up the rules on this
yeah.
spiritual journey.
So learning about where your potency lies and
Mhm.
honoring that and honoring when you really want to sleep and honoring really when you want to create and
Yeah,
finding
and
that light.
capitalizing on that
Yeah.
flow and stepping into that and letting those parts of you come through that you're meeting for the first time in like a spiritual awakening, which is why it feels so scary and like you're lost and can't focus, but
Yeah.
it's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And what I want to say too is like it's not linear. It's not like just going along. It's like you go like this and then you hit like a peak and then, or a divot and then you're going
Mhm.
along. It's kind of a little leveled out and then you're like, you know, I
Yeah.
was just bedridden for 3 days. No one else got it. I- I'm kind of like, what is this? And part of me thinks that I thought it was a stomach bug, but the way it came and went, I'm like, this could have been just processing energy and getting to another level. So it's like because when I got up, all of a sudden it yesterday it was like gone, and I'm like, oh, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, the puffiness was gone. There was a certain like glow I had, and I was like, where where did this come from? I
Right.
didn't look sick anymore. It just like went gone, and it
Yeah.
was like, processed, and I was like, what? So sometimes it can mask itself as like, you know, we think we're sick. And so many times I have labeled myself sick when I'm like, I'm just processing. I'm
That's
just
it.
the new thing I've been doing is transmuting. So I've been
Yeah.
taking anything in me and bringing it to the level of source within my body. So
Mm.
that's been very interesting too. But I like this idea. You're really talking about these waves. You're going along, and then you crash, and then you go along. It's super not linear, and it's to be gentle with yourself. I think I hear you
Yes, for
say.
sure. Be gentle with yourself. And
Yeah.
I think a big word, in addition to transmuting, a word for me for 2021 has been integration, right? And I think some
Mhm.
of those crashes, we think that they're crashes, but again, it's all perspective because it's easy to get hard on yourself and you're like, dang, I can't get out of bed today, like I was on Monday. No energy to get out of bed, or man, again, I'm being lazy, or like what is actually happening to me. But really, those times where we have those like dips, it's a time to be introspective, it's a time to rest, it's a time to really try to take everything that you've learned. There's so much happening all the time at the same time, and if you keep going, you're missing the lesson, right? So sometimes we're
Yeah.
forced, and what I've learned in 2021 for me personally, I've been the person to keep going, to keep pushing, keep striving, keep doing. And I'm at a point in my own journey where I hear a message from the universe very loud and clear to sit my butt down. And the more resistant I am to that message, the harder and harder the things that are happening in my actual reality are.
Mhm.
Doing so, for example, I got into a really bad car accident at the beginning of this year. And I use that as an example for perspective. One, gratitude. Even in the worst case scenarios, guess what? I'm alive, right? There's always that silver lining that you should focus on. And two, it was a message for me personally to not go anywhere, to stop moving, to, I'm the driver literally, but I need to stop driving myself to do all these things and keep myself distracted. I need to be the driver of my life and refocus and take the lessons I've learned and really sit and just kind of, be stable and, still for a minute. So I just use that as an example that sometimes we might look at things like they're, we're sick or we're lazy, like I said, or we're whatever that thing is, replace whatever that word is, but that's actually the most helpful times. That's where the growth actually happens. The more you can take time to shift the perspective and be like, okay, this is actually where I can learn something. I have an opportunity here. I can keep doing something I've always done, or I can really, if I was always going to keep moving, maybe this is my opportunity to actually stay in bed for the extra few hours, which I never would have done before. And there lies in that inspired action that will have its own chain event. So integration is just huge. And I feel like right now the energy is so potent that if you're in this like period of where you need to do that and you're not, and you're resisting like I am, I could rattle off about 30 more examples of how the universe has said, no, sit down. You're on punishment, you're on timeout, even though you're never on punishment. I'm saying,
time out. I really relate to that. This past year has been like a time out, and my whole business was on hold, and my whole business had to take, I'm refocusing it, and I have like this whole new, rebranding, refocus and everything. And it's like, I had to my business totally went offline, totally stopped. I started doing artwork. I started sitting around and doing art. And, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do healing or coaching work ever again. I don't know where this is going, but I was able to sit with it because I had to sit my butt down because I didn't know what else to do. And, I wasn't going out to work because no one was hiring because we were on lockdown. So I was just like, I had to just surrender to this, that this is what it is. And, sitting our butts down, we get to have that focus like you're talking about. And without that, I didn't think I was going to come back into this new phase of my business as a coach and a healer. And all of a sudden, here it is. And it's taking a I guess a path that I really enjoy. It's about my voice, and it's about teaching others about their voice, about vocal toning, and about manifesting with your voice. So it's such a fun topic that my business has taken, and I would never have even thought of that.
I love it. Yeah, I think it's important to I like the word I keep using as well, even based on that, is trust, because the same exact thing happened to me. So one, collective, when you talk about these things, again, this collective energy of taking a pause and a reset, same thing. I've had my YouTube channel for about 3 years, and just over the last year, I put a pause on it personally. I'll throw something up every once in a while, but I've just felt this extreme pause, no videos, no any of the passion projects that I was working on for years, so excited about you. It was like my dream, just doing it out of sheer love and passion and creativity and on fire, to completely just one day, door shut, closed. This is no longer gonna be a thing right now. But and I don't know if it was resistance but it really, for me personally, felt just like a knowing of it's a pause, it's a stop versus resistance. So I put a stop to that for a little bit, but I'm now, like you said, I'm now feeling that energy come back. I'm feeling like a fresh start come back, all the creative juices, redirecting, really understanding my why. And the word I keep hearing about all of this is trust, because what I've had to do in this reset and integration is on top of all the things going haywire, which I feel like 2021 for me it's been just fire after fire after fire after fire, life event trauma, shadow work. That's all 2021 has been for me, which is partly why I've also taken a break from some of these stuff. But it's trust to just take one step at a time, right? One foot in front of the other. It's like that moon energy, right? You can only see a few feet ahead of you with the moonlight, and you got to trust to take that next step, and that sun will come up the next day. And something I heard about trust on a spiritual journey that I loved is it comes down to trust and confidence. And people understand confidence as, I'm assured and I'm love myself and I'm, beautiful and I'm confident and I can just go speak on, do all these things. And that's true. That's confidence. But on a spiritual awakening journey, confidence takes a new meaning, in that you have to learn how to trust yourself. That's confidence, meaning, okay, crap can be going haywire right now, but you know what? I trust myself that I got myself this far, which means I trust that I can make right decisions. I trust that I can listen to myself. I trust that I can intuitively feel what's right or next and get myself wherever I want to go. And the thing is, we never learn trust growing up. So once you go through a spiritual awakening, in essence, you're just learning for the first time ever to actually trust yourself, trust those decisions, trust what you feel, follow that. And that's when you feel like a new little like baby cow being birthed with like not being able to walk on your legs. You're like, I've never had to do this before. But we don't give ourselves that compassion. But it's like we've never been taught and we've never done this for ourselves before. That's confidence. That's the spiritual journey. Just one foot in front of the other. You don't know how to do it. You don't have to do it. But every choice you make, like one by one, and that awareness you can have as you're making those choices, your confidence is gonna like soar. And that's part of this integration where you need some of these lessons and hits and downtime and all of this chaos to then come out on the other side and be like, whoa, I clearly trust myself now because I know where I was last week. You know?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I've been playing with that, the trust thing too. And like I see confidence as kind of like your game face. It's like a little psychological tool, but trust is like a whole paradigm shift. So which do you want? Do you want confidence or do you want like total trust in yourself? Total trust that you know you can go up and do whatever, like you trust and know you can do it. So it's that's a definitely step up from confidence for sure. Which
absolutely.
Another upside of ascending and awakening, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your new focus. Like, where are you going now? Like you said you had that same kind of like, okay, letting go, and now I'm starting to refocus. I know you have a children's book that you did. Is there more of that coming? Or
yes. Yeah, definitely. Much like you, I think a large part of my awakening journey personally is using my voice. I'm jealous of you because I don't sing. Mama Nemo Moo, I can't I'll still play with vocals and
yes, you can.
Yeah, exactly. I can't if I say I can't. See, that's also something you gotta pay attention to on your spiritual awakening. Words that you say, even when you're joking, being careful, because I've also found in 2021, manifestations are coming true like this. Whether I'm joking or not, your subconscious does not know. So I found myself saying things like, I can't, or someone says a funny joke and I'm like, oh, I'm dead, right? And I've almost died literally twice this year, you know? So think about words you say, you know what I mean? Like words you say, even if you're joking, your subconscious doesn't know. So that's one thing.
That's important to know. Let's just highlight that. Guys, be careful. You're watching the replay. Be careful of what you are saying and what comes out of your mind. And
someone says a funny joke and you're like, oh, or someone tells you wrote a children's book and you're like, oh my God, I'm so jealous. You mean that with like well-intentional, like, oh, great job, but I'm so jealous. That's a different energy that you don't want to be messing with accidentally, right?
Yeah.
Or I found myself saying, I'm dead when someone, makes a joke because it's funny, like I've said, or I can't, like I just said as a joke when we were talking about I can't sing. You know what? That's not true. And the thing is, in an awakening journey, you don't always have to get it right. But the minute you realize and catch yourself, that's the paradigm shift. You caught yourself. And
then you get to lessen that groove. Like I have been catching the word can't too. And a few people have caught me on it. Like, well, you really can. But I was like, you know what? I really don't want to. And that really coming into the vibrational distinctions of the words we're using and just be like, you totally can.
I can.
I don't want to. And with your voice, you're like, I'm a little nervous, but
yes,
we could because I can talk.
Exactly. So voice is super important in just all those ways we just mentioned, like accidentally or on purpose, being mindful of the words we're using. But next to my journey, my whole journey is about my voice too, just in different ways, which is really just stepping into myself. Like my presence, I really feel is my gift. I feel like it's confusing sometimes on a spiritual journey because we're all looking for that purpose or like that one thing we're good at or whatever. But really, I'm coming to understand, again, at least for myself, like it's the most anticlimactic answer because it's just being yourself. It's literally just your presence that is the gift. And it doesn't have to be anything more than that, right? So I'm using my voice in different ways. But what's next for me is a lot more focus on writing. So yes, there will be eventually sequels and more to the children's book kind of side of things. A lot more writing. I've also partnered with 2 amazing wellness companies online and partner writing their blogs monthly, and just trying to see where I can take more of writing. Definitely, I'll always have a passionate love for videos and YouTube. So getting back into that slowly. But I think I'm switching a little bit from face of the camera, face to behind the scenes. And something I've learned in my integration is I'm really good at being a hype person and the behind the scenes person and the person who can help you get your dreams up and running. You know, before I was always so hyper focused on like, you know, me being the face and the brand and all this stuff. But I realized, you know, there's also power in what I've done for other people behind the scenes. And I actually work great behind the scenes and,
Yeah.
you know, sharing the knowledge I have that way. So a lot more collaboration, a lot more writing, and a lot more using my voice in different ways that doesn't just require kind of a video platform.
Voiceover?
Oh, definitely. I have two audiobooks on Audible available today. One's an affirmation book. So if you're actually wanting to learn how to change your language and work with your subconscious, like we've talked about this, and really reprogram your mind for just a more positive, abundant, prosperity-filled life, and prosperity in all the ways, not just money, wealth, health, happiness, all those types of things, love. It's an amazing book. It's called 365 Days to Self-Prosperity. Actually, it was written by a dear friend, Ariana Corsino. She's on YouTube here at The Realm of Prosperity.
Oh, I love her.
Yes, she is a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner.
Yeah.
And, so I get to, you'll hear my voice on that Audible book, which is on Audible today. So I recite all those beautiful affirmations to you so you can take me on a walk with you, go to the gym. Before you go to bed, I will whisper sweet nothings into your ear to remind you how amazing you are.
Nice. That is awesome. Well, I want to keep it kind of at 30 minutes. We're going to wrap up here, but is there one last topic you have want to send people off with? Any last words of wisdom from our new age coach that you want to
I just keep practicing gratitude. Again, it's like sometimes cliches or stereotypes like have truth in them. Like it gets so cliche to say, you know, like, oh my God, if one more blog or article or video or person says to practice gratitude, I know it. But going through those two things are, you are not alone. So number one, you're not alone, which is why we have videos like this and collaborations like this. And we talk about these things because I'm sure there are pieces from here you can pull out and relate to and then realize like, oh, you know, I just thought I was going through this personally, or I thought I was going crazy, but they're experiencing it. They know this. So you're not alone on that level. And number two,
it'll last forever, right? Like
exactly.
So it stops, it lulls, gives you a break.
And you're not alone in the sense of spirit or a higher power, because one thing through my own, I only speak from personal experience. And like I've said, I have gone through some deep trenches this year. And the one thing that has remained constant, even in my most dire hour, where I'm in fetal position, where I am like, how am I going to get myself out of this? Spirit has unequivocally come through, whether it's a person speaking to me in that moment, whether I get a voice message, whether it's angel numbers, whatever has meaning to me. There's never been one moment that I've truly felt alone. So even in my despair and the toughest times on this journey, there's this unwavering faith that I'm like, I know for a fact, there's absolutely no way I could explain some of these situations without saying like, it's real for me, right? Like it is real. Spirit has been there. And I know somehow this is all going to work out. And I'm not alone that way either. So you're not alone, and practice gratitude for those moments when you're not alone, because gratitude is the one thing that has gotten me out of bed every single day from some of these trenches, like I said. And it's not easy. And I don't think a lot of people talk about, you know, the harder sides of the spiritual journey. I also have a podcast called The Shitty Side of Spirituality, where we try to address topics that aren't just like, you know, manifestation and law of attraction or the bad sides of sometimes, like you said, if I'm joking about being dead, that's law of attraction and can attract that same situation. So two sides of the same coin, right? Or just how lonely it can be, or how frustrating, or how isolating, or, you know, all of the things that don't get glorified on social media on this journey. So you're not alone. We love you.
We love you. Yes, I think that's so important. That's such a great wrap up, because gratitude really does have this energy to kind of just bring you right back up the emotional guidance scale, right? And so, and you're not alone, and reach out. You know, if you need support, Abbey's here, I'm here. We both have communities, we both have offerings. You really aren't alone, especially on this platform, because there's so many people trying to like give a handout because we need support too. So it's just like, I was so excited when my to 1,000 because I got my community link. At when you reach 1,000, you get this
Yes.
community page and you
Yeah.
get the posts and I was so excited to be able to actually like talk to
Yeah.
people in a different way on YouTube. So it's just like just building our tribes is I think it's
Yeah, and everyone has a story. That's the other part, right? Like every story matters. It's unique, and you do not know the one thing that you have to say or share or that's going to change somebody's life. I've
great.
also seen that happen. You're in the right place at the right time. Just by using your voice, like we said, telling your story, you are unequivocally going to help someone, and you may never know it, but that's one thing I have 100% confidence in. Whatever you say around whoever you're around, you are helping someone in some way, shape, or form. So speak, speak, speak. And it doesn't have to be in words, but speak however, your spirit's leading you, whatever that means for you. But you are definitely impacting other people in a good
Yeah,
way. So share.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining the Friday live stream. It was so nice having you.
You too. Thank
And
you so much for having me. I love your
yeah,
channel. Congrats on the 1,000. Happy belated birthday. I said
thank
it's only my
you.
goals to look like you now at your age of 50. Or when I get to 50, those are my goals. I'm manifesting that right now. But thank you also for everything you share and all the work you're doing. And I
Thank
appreciate you. And I'm so
you.
happy to be here.
Thanks so much. And
Thank you.
we'll talk a little bit. Just let me just wrap
Sure.
this up. So for those of you watching the replay, thanks for tuning in and thank you for the light journey you are on and the gift you are to the planet. So we'll see you next Friday live.
Thank you.